We're doing a special tonight, and I named it Return to Love, and I'm going to explain why. And I'm really excited that these teachers are here with me because they all have some amazing tracks and courses and things to contribute to this topic and insight and a whole bunch of other things. But a few weeks ago, I was having a major meltdown, and OBS was part of that, as I know that Alejandro can relate. And I was just getting so frustrated and overwhelmed. And I thought to myself, you need to rein this in, get this in check because, ask your guides is something that I love doing. And that's where the whole thought about return to love came to me because I was like, get back to why you started this and why you love doing this and forget the OBS nonsense and stop overwhelming yourself. So that's when I asked all these beautiful teachers if they would come on here with me and do a special Ask Your Guides. And I wanted to call it Return to Love because I want them to give us all tips on, what you can do when you're feeling like that. Things come up. I mean, nobody's perfect. I used to think teachers were all perfect. They were on Insight Timer. They knew everything. They never had problems. They were always smiling. I thought, I can't do that. I don't know how they do that. And then I became part of this amazing community and was like, all right, we are all normal. We do occasionally lose it and need to ground ourselves and practice what we preach. And when I found myself getting overwhelmed, I'm like, all right, I got to open up the app. I have to find something here to help me. And the first thing that I found was a track that Myesha has. And I'm going to pull up the name of it again because I know I'm going to get it wrong. It's called Empty Yet Inexhaustible. And that's exactly how I felt at the time. I was like, I'm feeling empty. I'm getting exhausted. The words just jumped out at me. So I played this track and it helped me tremendously. So much so that it has become like my favorite now. And also, I've been doing Eileen's course, Return to Love, which I love. I love the name. I love the course. Femke, you do some amazing stuff with self-gentleness and self-love. And Alejandro's going to be doing the love languages. So I just felt like everybody here in Lava is just like, always inspiring us, even though she hides. So I invited everybody to come here with me and Melanie and just, I want to share with everybody those things, those techniques that we can use when we're feeling overwhelmed and, feeling like you need to remember, as I did, why you do the things you love and the things that make you happy. I love doing Ask Your Guides. It makes me happy. I love these lives. And I was feeling so overwhelmed that I was just like, I'm not doing that. I was having like a tantrum. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm over this and tired of this. And I was like, all right, calm yourself down, Violet. Return to what you love. So here we are. So this is not moderated. Everybody is welcome to speak whenever they want. Oh, I should say, Melanie, if you want to keep track of questions, that's fine too, because I'm not good at that. I admit that. And let me just look through the comments here. I've not been looking at everybody. Jill, yes. Hi, Jill. Jill's an amazing teacher here. Oh my gosh, all the teachers, excuse me, I've got to scroll back up because I see all these teachers that I love in here. Jill, I see Blossom Violet, my twin, Carly, a smile from heaven, all the amazing teachers and Catherine, hello, Catherine, whose tracks I know and love very well, who always relax me and help me to calm down. So I am going to let everybody introduce themselves. I am going to start with you, Eileen.
Hi. Okay. I guess when you said it's not going to be moderated, I just wanted to make sure we're still doing intros and then going into that. Okay. Um, I think, sorry, the things Zoom is telling me to turn my hand or lower my hand down. Okay, there we go. So
That's
I'm
fine.
Eileen Rose Miles, and I was actually just gonna comment on what you were saying. I just appreciate your transparency because yeah, we're all human here. Just because we guide meditation doesn't mean we're we're not human. And even for me, I experienced my first migraine just the other day, and my mind was like overwhelmed. And it's because I was doing so much thinking about something in the future I'm really excited about. But I had a friend remind me to drop into my heart. And even that just simple reminder of, okay, when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling down about a certain thing, or you're feeling very just in your overthinking, overanalyzing mind, drop into your heart, which is your space where you can feel that love for yourself and just return to a more steady energy. So, what you said resonates with me too. And I even just felt it the other day as well. I have been leading meditations here in Insight Timer since 2020. And I have my new course, Return to Love, which is all about quieting the inner critic and reconnecting to your inner friend, because the inner critic is very loud while the inner friend is quiet and soft. And so meditation is the perfect space to really hear that inner friend and return back to more of a loving relationship with yourself too, because I think a lot of us do spend a lot of our days at war with ourselves sometimes and just judging our thoughts, our feelings. And we're really here to be in partnership with ourselves and to befriend our mind and love ourselves, because when we love ourselves, we can love others even more. And yeah, I could go on and on. So I'm grateful to be here. And I host lives twice a week as well, live meditations. So
I love that. I love everything that you said. And it's so true. And, I was like, overwhelmed and just being so hard on myself. So I love everything that you said. And I'm in the middle of your course and I love that too.
yay.
Now the
Thank you.
whole screen changed on me. I'm just going to move up to Myesha.
Thank you so much. It's really nice to meet you, Eileen. Yeah, I'm really grateful to be here. I'm really grateful to be speaking about this topic. Return to love is, I've been journeying with the heart practices of Buddhism, and so just been really in the heart space. And I kind of took a little space back from teaching from Insight Timer for just a few weeks to deepen my practice. I've really been called back into kind of to fall back in love with the subtleties of the practices. So my name is Myesha, and I teach here on Insight Timer. I'm an embodiment practitioner and educator. And a lot of what I do is journeying, like what I call meditative journeys, guiding folks from the surface to the depths of ourselves and then back again. This constant migration that I read about Mark Nepo's book, where he talks about the migration of zooplankton and how they don't journey for miles and miles, but they journey from the depths to the surface and back again. And I feel like that's really reflective of how we are as human beings and our emotions and all of the different versions of ourselves as we unfold as human beings. And so um, being with those parts of ourselves that are not easy to be with and not easy to see. And so really just finding strength and doing that in community is where my heart is right now. And so I'm really grateful to be here. I also do have a track called Return to Love, From Surface to Soul, Return to Love. And it's a plus track, it's my only plus track. So folks are welcome to check that out as well. Thank you for
Oh, I'm
having
going to
me,
check that
Melanie.
out. I'm definitely going to check that out. Myesha, I have a question. How long have you been a teacher here?
I started teaching here this year, actually, early
Wow.
this year. And I've been a student on the app for many years and
I I
just
feel
started
like your
teaching this
wisdom
year.
has been here forever, though. It's like every time I hear something from you, I'm like, I kept meaning to check how long you've been a teacher. That's awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
And Alejandro, I'm moving on to you.
Hello, my name is Alejandro. Thank you, Violet. Thank you, Melanie, for having me today. I am a health and wellness coach, but also a mindful and meditation teacher. I've been on Insight Timer about 3 years with a little break in between. I started teaching here in 2021 and then took a little break and then came back. And it has been a beautiful journey of not only self-discovery, but of community. and transcendence of boundaries when it comes to growth and healing. My approach, if you've been on a live with me, it's one of journeying through vulnerability into authenticity and true self, and returning to love is it's the essence of the work I believe we all do. Love is, has been, and will always be. Um, and when we talk about being humans who teach meditation and guide meditations, we go through all of this ups and these downs, and it's completely normal and completely okay. And it's always that breath, that return to love that centers at least me and helps me come back into truth, not so much reality. So yeah, thank you so much for having me here. I am super excited about this topic, and yeah, thank you. Thank you for creating a space where teachers can be just as we are and bring whatever it is that we can bring to the table, and people can partake of that.
Absolutely. And Femke, I'm moving on to you.
Yeah, thank you, Violet, for inviting me again. It's I'm really happy to be here, and I so love what Ask Your Guys is becoming and growing and getting more and more people also following in your group. I really love that. So my name is Femke Bakker, and I'm a meditation teacher on Insight Timer since 2019. And actually, Insight Timer, my work on Insight, I'm also a behavioral scientist working at the university, where I started to study also the impact of meditation on social and political behavior. Um, and via Insight Timer, I discovered that in essence, everything I teach is about self-gentleness. So that's a concept that I started to develop, which the definition is radically accepting yourself as the most important person to consistently deserve your own gentleness. And I find, although it is all about love, self-love, love for others, I find the concept of gentleness easier for people to accept, because we can all think of a moment that we are gentle with ourselves, while to think of loving yourself feels sometimes like a bit of a hard task. So that's my way in. And I think at the core of everything that I do in life, teaching here in the university, in everyone, with everyone that I'm encountering, I think it's all about spreading love, because if things boil down, we always have a choice to choose for fear or love. And then with fear come all these other emotions, and with love we have all these other things that feel more pleasant. But in many instances, especially also when I look at my work at the university, which is more political psychology, that everything comes down to, am I going to choose for fear or love? So yeah, I find it my mission to spread that self-gentleness around the world in the hope that we all return to love. So thank you for asking me today and joining everyone, because what I've heard till now, I think I resonate with all of you. So really happy to be here.
Wonderful. And Lava. Oh, I think you're muted, Lava.
Yes.
There you are.
Okay. All right. First of all, I want to say everybody just looks so fantastic in this format, and that's so inspiring to me. Okay, I've got to share a little bit. The last time we checked in, remember I had signed up like a month and a half before, and then I got involved in something that actually involved, I'm just going to say, because it comes to a point, politics. And I hadn't dealt with that world for over 10 years. So the last time I was here, I kind of didn't want to do it. But the other voice in my head said, well, you signed up, honor your commitment. And I'm so glad that I did, because in the midst of the craziness, I was with my tribe. And I didn't even know that this was my tribe until that happened, because it was actually spiritually painful to be in that other group, but I had to go back because I had a commitment. And then I was out of town in Colorado, and I missed Darius for so long. Darius does, for those that don't know, this amazing Friday morning meditation. He's got a group of probably close to 100 people at this point. It's amazing. Anyway, the last time we spoke, I was intimidated and afraid to do the lives. I've been registered as a teacher with Insight Timer, but in the meantime, I've been doing my own teaching. Like every Saturday, I have a decluttering group. I've had it since the pandemic, and we change the theme every week. And tomorrow's theme is Universal Music Day, which I love music. And during the decluttering, I always have a playlist that's probably usually themed around whatever the theme is. So tomorrow's all about music. Now that comes back to me with meditation. So I've been recording my own meditations because I used to, as a independent contractor, I worked in the different rehabs. I had contracts where I was doing meditation in the rehab centers. And the one thing they used to always say about me, Lava, you never do the same thing. It's always something different. Exactly, because I'm dealing with addiction. And with addicts, the minute they figure you out, you have lost them. So I had to be very creative with that. And that brings me back to the recording. I did a big thing, everybody. Yesterday, I went out and bought a brand new computer because I wanted to get ready to start doing my lives. And I'm sure there are people in our audience that also want to know about that format and what's required to do that, because it is a work of love and it is important that we express ourselves. I read something today that said the only way out of depression is expression. Wow, how about that? And so we have to express ourselves. We have to find our center and we have to stay there. We have to find our tribe and connect with it on a regular basis. That's the beauty of Insight Timer. I don't know whatever you wanted me to talk about, Violet, but I'm sure there's somebody in your audience that also wants to know what they have to do what all of you are doing right now. And after I bought the computer, I walked out of Best Buy and I said, maybe I was supposed to get a laptop instead. I don't know, but I hope we talk about whatever works and what we need to do to make it work. But I stepped out in faith.
You can talk about whatever you want. And Melanie, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and take it away.
Okay, well, thank you. I teach mindful cooking and intuitive baking here on Insight Timer. And for me, food is all about love. So I think for me, that's just enough said. And I really resonate, Lava, with what you said about depression and expression. And I think that's probably why I don't usually feel depression, because I always express my voice and I've always been able to use my voice. But the past year, my dad died. I was diagnosed with cancer and I didn't use my voice and I felt depressed. And it's actually why I love lives, because I do lives all the time, because I am then able to use my voice in a different way. And just like here, we're using our voice. And I think it is such an amazing opportunity to connect with people. And for me, that's the heart of what I love. Okay, so Elizabeth asked an amazing question. And she said, I know this is about returning to love, but I'm curious what helps you stay in your heart space and in a place of love the most. Also, what is the first sign you are starting to creep away from that place? And what is the first thing you do once you are aware of it?
I'm going to start by saying that I was aware that I was getting out of that space when I was just getting agitated. I was angry at everybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to hear about OBS. I didn't want anybody, to approach me. So that for me is the first sign. And what do? Well, I whipped out my Insight Timer app and started scrolling through and saying to myself, I have to practice what I preach. This is what I tell everybody else to do. I have to do it too. So I sat down somewhere quietly, listened to Myesha's track, which was what the first one that like jumped out at me. And, you know, I took some deep breaths because I always notice that when I'm feeling like that, I'm not breathing. I'm like, I'm so tight. And I was like, all right, relax, you know, chill out, listen to this and calm down. And it worked. Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, I was
Myesha.
gonna. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Melanie. Were you gonna?
Oh, I said Myesha because she had her hand raised, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, she did. Okay, yeah, go for it. Go for it. No, go for it. I'll go
I'll
after.
go after you, Eileen. Go ahead.
Okay. I feel you too with that, Violet, of just like noticing your body is telling you uh that something's off and feeling that irritation in your body, that frustration, not breathing. I think that's a key sign. And for me, like I was saying earlier, it's showing up in my body with a headache and clearly telling me you need to drop into your heart and return back to love and return back to the presence of your heart and deep breathing. My favorite thing is to go on a walking meditation and just get into my body through walking and immerse myself in nature. And there's studies that say too that your eyes, you know, naturally just move back and forth and you're looking, which is that bilateral stimulation, which is just so good for your nervous system. And then because you're outside, you're expanding your mind versus like staying frustrated at your computer screen or your phone and staying in that focused, hyper focused kind of moment. So just being outside, I feel like expands everything within me and around me. And then it allows me to just remember that this moment, like I'm in a new moment now, and I can choose to see this moment with love. And it just naturally, when I go on a walk, I already just take a deep breath, like right when I step out. So that would be the one major thing. It's and or yoga as well, or movement, just any sort of movement to get out of the head and into the body, which is probably what Myesha you're going to talk about, right? It's just that embodiment. And I wanted to comment. I wrote down what you said, from surface to soul. I love that. I haven't heard anything like that, and that's, I think, when we're overwhelmed and stressed and living in fear and not in love, we're on the surface and we're forgetting to drop into the soul and into our bodies. And even what Alejandro said earlier too, the truth versus the reality and coming back to that deep knowing. So over to you, Myesha.
That was beautiful, Eileen. Thank you so much. Yeah, just to add to that, one of the things that signals to me that I'm out of my heart space, or that I'm out of alignment, or that I'm just off kilter, is that things start to speed up a lot. So one of the first things that I do is begin to slow down, literally. For those of you in the chat who have been to my lives, you know, one of the things that I say often in my meditations is to begin to slow down, literally, your thoughts, your physical movements. So I begin to move literally at half speed. Even if I have things to do, I just begin to move at half speed. That really helps me to sort of slow down. If I can't stop and meditate or take some, you know, if I can't stop what I'm doing altogether, slowing down really helps me. And then I really do check in on my breathing. I see how shallow or deep I'm breathing. That is a really good indicator as well. And then I check for where I'm feeling sort of contraction in my body. That really helps me sort of signal like what it is that I need to do. It points to what it is that I need to do in order to take care of myself. And so being out in nature is my favorite pastime. I'm always hiking, biking. I'm always playing outside. So play is a big part of my self-care routine, and hiking. I just have the spirit of play and wonder, especially when I'm outside in nature, and that really gets me out of the headspace and allows me to just be in my spirit, and to do just engage with the environment naturally without thinking about it. And so those are some of the some of the things that I do in order to stay in the heart space. And I wanted to say, because I think Carly is still here, that I was called to sit with cacao this week. I've actually been sitting with cacao for the whole week, and I've been doing my own ceremonies. And it's interesting, when I was in Peru last year, I got some really good quality cacao, like just nice big brick of it. And I hadn't been using it, hadn't been sitting with it until very recently. I hadn't at all this year, I don't think. But I was really in my heart space this week, and I have to say, our last live with Carly really made me remember that I had this heart medicine, and I started really looking into the sort of qualities within cacao and why it is a heart opener. And I've just been in such a lovely, lovely, lovely heart space. So I just wanted to offer that as well.
Femke?
Yeah. So I so love what Eileen and Myesha, sorry, are telling about the body, because that's really something that I also noticed, that the moments that you are losing that place of love and being connected with yourself, that it's all in your head, and like things seem to be rushing. So I can really relate to that, being in nature, moving, really also actually touching yourself. One of the most beautiful things that I learned is that when you hug yourself or you caress yourself, you actually also produce oxytocin, just like when someone else touches you. So you can even do that yourself. But for me, what is also really important is that I need to make time every day to tune in with myself. And that can be just a few minutes. And to really tune in and to become aware of what is going on within me, whether my body hurts somewhere, whether there are worries, and especially what it is that I need in the moment. And that can, be different. One day it's that I'm really tired and I really need to slow down. And sometimes I just need to speed up because I have that energy that wants to do something. And then to try to honor that. And that's sometimes hard because we have to deal with a lot of expectations from ourselves and, everything that we have to do in a really fast world. But then I always try, if I cannot honor my needs right now, then I promise myself to take a later moment that day or the next day where I can meet those needs. And I've also noticed that the longer I'm practicing these things, the more sensitive also you become for noticing that, hey, I'm not there anymore. I'm losing myself. Hey, I have to get back. And sometimes there are topics that it takes me some time to actually get there. But sometimes, and more often also, it's just like, oh wait, I have to just tune in. And next to that, gratefulness exercises, those are really, really great. That's something that I also always recommend before you go to sleep. Just focus on a few things you're grateful for. It can be the same things every evening, it can be different things, can be small things. But that is, and we know that also from a lot of research, when you start to focus on gratefulness, to cultivate that you really improve your sense of well-being very quickly, because then you open your heart for being grateful for the people in your life, the things, a butterfly flying by, just getting hot water from your tap, and when you can experience that those small things can give you something, then you give yourself that love also, because you allow the good things of life, the small things also in. So yeah, that's my penny of thoughts.
Thank you. Anybody else want to contribute to that?
Sure, I'll add something. I personally start noticing that I have moved out of my heart space when I start isolating. I begin to become this like hermit, and I stop looking at my phone to answer text. And at that point, I know that something is going on. When the work I do becomes a task, I know that there's something going on. So coming back to the yoga mat or the meditation cushion, and lately I've said this in my lives before, but I don't consider myself a singer, but I've always sung. And singing lately has not only I'm in this journey of healing from religious trauma in my own life, which I thought I had dealt with until spirit really confronted me with love and invited me into community and invited me into communion. And so singing, the past few weeks, when I feel like I've had a rough life because my cats are really loud, aka last night, and or in frustration just shows up, or I'm having a difficult time just because it's life and life happens, and sometimes I wake up on the wrong side of the bed per se, and something feels off. Starting to sing and bringing that high vibration into the atmosphere and telling myself what we're going to feel today. We are choosing to live from a place of high vibration. We're choosing love today, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what's real. Truth is that we are rooted in love and that we are love. So singing for me, and of course crying. If you know me, I'm a crier. I love a good crying. Crying is the best healing balm, I believe. So if needed, sitting with myself and sitting with whatever emotion it is, and allowing self to be with that emotion, not trying to move and get it over with, but allowing myself to embrace that emotion and cry if I have to cry, and then laugh if I have to cry. I'm sure my cats thinks I'm crazy sometime, and that's okay. They join me and they meow. You guys have heard them, but yeah, singing lately. Singing has been this beautiful connection to the divine and this beautiful connection to love itself. So those of you who are artists, those of you who have that creative side in you, tap into that whenever you feel disconnected, even when it feels like a chore. Tap into it, because I believe that creativity, when we tap into creativity, we're tapping into love itself, which is this that is higher than us, which is this that is divine. So that's what's been working for me, singing. And it's been beautiful, and it's been a new experience of embracing a gifting and a talent that I had neglected or maybe put on the shelf for a while during my late 20s, early 30s. Oof. But yeah, that.
Thank you. Lava.
So first of all, for the audience and our group, what everybody said, absolutely 100%. The first thing that came to my mind on this really great question is, if it's not on the page, it's not on the stage. And that is why I use Bloom. It's Bloom, it's ladies that created these wonderful calendars. And I write down what my intentions are, basically, if I can, for the week. Sometimes it might just be for tomorrow, but I work from that. And I'm reminding myself of what I need to do. And maybe some of you all haven't experienced this yet, but as you get older and you have more responsibilities, and then you start doing your thing and everybody else has expectations, it needs to be, for me, on the page so that I don't forget what it is that I am committed to doing and that I intend to do. So I learned, with this last week, last 2 months, it was a journey, and I was feeling funky. I wasn't feeling right about myself. And in addition to getting back with my tribe, one of the things I love is music. I love my singing voice, but dancing, putting on something that makes me want to move and groove is helpful to me. That's my thing. And oh, forget about it. With music, I can go on a complete journey, literally off this planet, just listening to music, because music for me has the power of taking me back to another time and place. It does that for me. And I end up, maybe when I was in the 4th grade, coloring on the back porch kind of thing, or playing with the bunny rabbit. But we have to be, for me, it's a powerful tool, but I have to be careful with it. because it can take me to some places that are kind of sad and uncomfortable. And what I would suggest, if you're feeling, this is what works for me. When I'm in that, oh, ain't it awful, poor, pitiful me, I listen to the blues. I listen to that. I lost my dog, my house burned down, my wife done left me kind of music. And I'm like, you know what? It's just not so bad after all, is it? Now pull your big girl panties up and get your heels to clicking, Dorothy, because it is time to leave. And that is what, but everybody's got something, whatever it is, the thing that you love to do, by all means, if you feel as though you're in a funk, do it. And by the way, for all of the creatives, it's always good to look at what others are doing in the field that you're interested in. It's inspiring to do that. If you like to do rug latch hooking, go look at a beautiful rug. Look at the beauty in it. Find that which will inspire you for the thing that you love to do.
Eileen.
I was just going to add on, I love what you said too, Lava, just about remembering what you love to do. I think we forget in those moments, and I think Femke, you mentioned it as well. It's like, what do I need in this moment? So that's a great question to ask yourself. And then coming back to, oh yeah, I do love to sing and dance and do all that. And I wanted to just share, Alejandro, when you were talking about singing and how it connects you to your heart and just that piece. I heard one time that the mind and the heart are connected by the bridge of the throat. And so it's like when we sing and use our voice, and what Melanie was saying too, when we express our voice, it's like it's bridging the gap between the head and the heart and just bringing that harmony. And I think what happens when we're not connected to our heart, we're just living too much in the head, of course. And so it's like doing those things that drop us into the heart, and singing. I'll sing even though it's not great. It's such a great way to do that. So I just wanted to add that. I think it's such a beautiful reminder that your voice too, and expressing how you're feeling too, is so important. I even shared the other day that I was having a headache because I was feeling overwhelmed. And even saying that, I was like, wow, it like softened everything, right? Because I think it's the judgment of how we're feeling that actually causes a lot of the suffering too, and the disconnect, when we can just allow what is versus what we think should be, and just let it be what it is, and just accept that. That really helps us soften into that place of love and acceptance.
I agree. I just wanted to jump in there and say I agree about being all up in your head, because that's what I do. I'm such an overthinker. And you know, that weekend that I was having a hard time with OBS, I was like having these arguments in my head by myself. And you know, neither one of us was winning. Anyway, go ahead, Melanie.
Oh, I was going to say those are really beautiful responses. And Jill asked, any stories or examples of how returning or staying in love changed or complemented the quality of your life?
That's such a good question. Go
It's
ahead.
a great
I still thinking, I'm like, I don't know how to answer that. Go ahead.
I wasn't married that long, and I started, for whatever reason, beginning to like feel a little resentful towards my husband, and he didn't know. And I think I was resentful because I wasn't expressing what was bothering me. And I realized, like, oh my God, I've been married like 2 years. I can't be resenting him already. And so I started writing down the things that I appreciated about him, similar to a gratitude journal. And some days that was just me writing the same thing over again. Like, I'm grateful he woke up this morning. Because
he took out the garbage.
Yeah, some days I couldn't find what I was grateful for, but I'm not exaggerating. At the end of 30 days, I felt like a completely different person about myself, but also in relationship to him. And even now, when I get frustrated, which I have a temper, you know, I know a lot of people don't know that about me, but I'm pretty feisty. And so whenever I get in that space, I remember that moment. I know Alejandro's like, yeah, everybody knows it about you. You're fooling yourself. Scorpio vibes, exactly.
Y'all are funny. This is a fun Friday.
That's how it changed my life. It did change my life because I really looked at him so differently and realized he's doing the best he can. And that is something else I always tell myself if I'm a little bit frustrated. I'm like, this person's doing the best they can. They're not coming after me. That's it.
Yes, I agree.
That question is so beautiful. Could you repeat it one more time? But I think I have an answer in my heart.
Yes. I'm going to put my glasses on just so I don't misread it. It's from Jill. Any stories or examples of how returning or staying in love changed or complemented the quality of your life?
Yeah, I was gonna say I really think that choosing to return to love and staying in a more heart-minded space, which is what Sarah Blondin says, becoming heart-minded, which I love that. I think it really allowed me to take my entire life back and just be more in a partnership with myself. And then because I'm able to be close with myself and not abandon myself, that just is a ripple effect into every relationship in my life. And there's this quote that says something along the lines of the degree at which you meet yourself is the same degree at which you'll meet others. And so choosing to really practice that, meeting my heart, choosing love and getting close to myself only allows me to be closer to others. So it allowed me to take back my entire life because I was wasting so much energy just allowing my mean girl and inner critic take over inside of me. So, I mean, it's really the greatest gift we can give ourselves.
Myesha?
Yeah, I love this question. I feel like when I'm open to love, it's like this, it goes in cycles for me, and I'm constantly moving through these like life and death cycles. I don't know how else to say it, but like this constant like rebirth and evolution and growth and shedding and death, and like it's it's not always pretty, but and um it is this beautiful relationship of just remaining open. And so the more I keep returning, right, after I go through these cycles and I shed and I grow and I evolve and I shed, um, I'm able to stay in that openness even like more consistently, more with a more steadiness, right, with more equilibrium. And so it allows me to just move with the cycles of life as well with more ease. I notice when I'm when I'm open to love and when I'm just open in general, by how much clinging or resisting I'm doing. I can sense and feel into it based on the clinging and the resisting and how much of it I'm doing. And so those are my stories. And sometimes it feels like tower moments where everything around me is like shattering and falling apart, falling together, however you look at it. And other times it feels like beautiful and growing and like, I'm in this dreamy state. And so just really being with it all allows me to just, I think that one of the main things for me is like developing this trust that through it all, I'm going to be okay. Like even when it feels like unbearable, that I'm still going to be okay.
Alejandro?
I think a story I've told before here on Insight Timer and why I love the 5 love languages so much. I lived 18 years of my life hating my father because I believed my father didn't love me. My father, the only way he still knows how to love is by giving when he has in abundance. So because he was not around, I hated him. And I believed for years, I told myself the story that dad was just trying to buy my love. And my identity as a male, as a man, as a future father, brother, and son was attached to this hatred towards men who abandoned me. When I discovered at 18 that my dad, and this goes to what Melanie said, that my dad loved me the best way he knew how to. That through the timeline, there was always signs of love. I was able to free myself from this story that I have told myself for so many years, and my identity then came into alignment with true love, and not with all of this ill feelings that I had towards not only him but also myself as a man, out of the fear of, will I become like him? Will I become the story I've told myself for so many years? So even today in my relationship with my father, although we have established certain boundaries, because boundaries are beautiful and they are expression of love, um, I come back to remind myself that my dad is loving me the best way he knows how to. And when it comes to other relationships, it's always reminding myself that people are always doing the best they can with what they have. Not everyone has ill intentions. Not everyone is out to get us. It's not personal. It's not about us. It's not about me. It's about us. It's about this connection and love, coming back to love. It's asking myself, how can I love myself in these circumstances? And how can I express love in these circumstances? What does that look like at work, with my neighbor, with my family, with my friends, even in uncomfortable situations? How can I show up in love? And sometimes we show up in love in a distance. If we talked about in my lives, I will love you in the boundaries. I love you from afar. And that is also okay. That is also healing, and that is also growth. But for me, um, coming to love and meeting love in the midst of my hatred towards my biological father truly completely changed my life. And not only did it change my relationship with him, my relationship with other men, but my relationship with self. At 18, I was able to say, hey, it's okay. You are loved. It's okay. You're accepted. You've always been. You've always been. And the narrative of who I was as a male figure in society and in my life completely changed just because I was able to accept love as it was, and still today as it is. So yeah, that's for me.
That's an awesome response. And it was along the lines of what I was thinking, you know. That was a great question, Jill, by the way. I kept thinking about that because I'm like, I know I'm feeling something. I just don't know what it is. And for me, it was realizing that other people could not make me happy. You know, I couldn't wait for my husband to do everything that I wanted the way I wanted it for me to be happy. I finally realized that for me to be happy, I had to make myself happy. I had to stop looking, you know, for my sister, my mom, everybody to behave the way I wanted them to. And when I finally let go of that and was like, you know what, I'm going to do what makes me happy, it changed everything for me. And Jill, I've never been the same since. So without a doubt, you know, Alejandro always says meeting people where they are, and I get that now. And that's what I do now. You know, I see so many people complaining about, you know, their mom or their spouse, or, you know, I have a very difficult mom. I accept her for who she is. I no longer, you know, wait for her to, yeah, I mean, she's 87 years old. She's not going to change. And I'm okay with that, you know, and I have siblings that won't talk to her and won't deal with her. And I'm like, this is who she is, you know, get over it, grow up and learn to love yourself. And that's what changed everything for me. So great question, Jill. And I'm done talking, Femke. You can take it away.
Yeah. Yeah, I so resonate with everything that was said. Also by Alejandro, I really agree with that. I think for me, I already as a kid, I had a real good capacity to love unconditionally. but in a sense that I also encountered sometimes no reciprocity of that, and that was really confusing sometimes. And I really had to learn over the time that loving unconditionally also means loving myself unconditionally. And that's just what you also just said, Alejandro, that you can also love from a distance. You can love people, but still it's better for me if there is a distance between us, or you, and it doesn't mean that there is not love. And for me, but also to people that I don't know, or people just in society, it's what is really important is a kind of awareness. It's really easy to listen to, fear or frustration, irritation, or not trusting. But I always want to become at least aware that I have a choice to choose for fear or love. And sometimes there are situations when you cannot, you have to listen also to your fear, because we have still our gut instinct. But it's the awareness that gives you the option that you can choose either this side of the coin or the other side. But I'm drifting a little bit off from the question. So yeah, for me, deciding that love is important, trust is important. I want people to be who they are, and I also want to allow myself to be who I am, and I'm getting better and better at that. And that has changed a lot, yeah, especially how I interact with others, how I can others actually let them be how they are. And it makes it gives a sense of self-empowerment, because you get your own agency. Suddenly things drop away, like having others to blame for things that are going wrong. Or even I remember when I started to meditate, and it's already years ago, and that after a few months, I was at my work, and a colleague started to bitch about the weather outside. And I suddenly realized that I didn't care anymore, that months before I really cared about rain and everything. And suddenly I realized the weather isn't responsible for how I feel. That is something that I'm giving to me. And it might be a really small thing, just the weather, although it rains a lot in the Netherlands where I live. But it really opened my eyes of what the power of meditation is. Tuning in with yourself, being with yourself, giving yourself actual power to love yourself. And then life becomes easier. That's it. It sounds really simple, but it is basically as simple as that. Yeah.
Lava, before you talk, I just want to say something that I forgot to mention before, is that it is 1 a.m. for you right now, Femke, is that right?
Yeah. And well, 2 a.m. almost.
2 a.m. And the fact that you were willing to come here at this time blew me away. So thank you for that.
You're most welcome.
Go ahead, Lava.
Okay, lower hand. There we go. So right now, join me in the echo chamber, because it definitely is what this group spoke about, that self-love. That was a great question. And at first I said, well, I'm not going to touch that one. But then I was inspired as each person spoke, because the return to love for me was returning to loving other people regardless of how they showed up, and just accepting that's what it is. What Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe it. So there it is. We all have our own journey in life, right? And love. And when it came to staying in love, when I was younger, and this was before I was married, I thought it was just so important to have that relationship and make sure that it works. And even when things were coming into play that I didn't like or understand or appreciate, I just thought it was so important to play the role that I thought that I was supposed to be playing. And a lot of that came from the parenting of in the 60s of, be a good little girl. And I was not even Amish or Latter-day Saint, but that's how, the suburban kids were, at least that's in our community, we were supposed to be good little girls. But when you're playing that role and you get in a relationship with someone who doesn't care about you the way you want to be cared about, which for me, it took me until I was 50 to realize I want to be cherished. I want to be treasured. And I want to know what that feels like, but I had to make sure that that was the only thing I would accept. And that's where it comes to self-love. So it was more, I couldn't return to someplace I never was. I had to discover loving myself. And I literally am in that stage right now. Last night, I was on this very powerful group with a Zoom with a lot of powerful women. And there was this woman, if I told you who it was, you absolutely would know who I'm talking about, very famous woman. And she mentioned that she had to step away from the world of entertainment. She stepped away from it so that she could learn to love herself. And she let go of a lot of things that she thought were so important that she felt as though were a reflection of who she really was feeling. She needed to do that for these other people to accept her. And it was so powerful to hear her process, but what she said that I really held on to, she goes, after letting it all go, I now know what freedom really is. And she said, I have to think about whether I want to go back into that world or not. And I thought, wow, I mean, how powerful. Yeah, she's made enough money where she could sit and rest on her laurels for the rest of her life. But the money is not what's important. It's your soul. It's your spirit. It's your identity as you understand it. I'm talking to myself right now. So everybody just turn the mirror so I can see myself really clearly, because that I'm in that stage of discovery. And look, the white hair tells you it takes a while. We're going to be learning this till the day that we transition to some other place. So don't press yourself. Don't pressure yourself. Enjoy the journey and enjoy the discovery so that you can feel that love. That's how I feel about it.
I think that a lot of this is tied into Evie's last question. And when I read it, I felt so strongly about it. And Evie asked, how would you all define love, and who or what has been your greatest love? And as soon as I read it, I knew my answer was me. And I feel like that's what a lot of you said. Some of you didn't. I saw some faces, but I think that's for me. I have kids, family, but at the end of the day, it's sort of like filling your own cup. And I have to love me first. Otherwise, I can't love others.
I immediately thought of my puppy, but I suppose I should say me.
I feel the same way, Violet. There's nothing like a dog's love. And I think that's a great reminder of how you should love yourself too, with full presence and joy and unconditional love. I was going to share though that I feel like, and when Lava was talking as well, it's just this reminder, and Violet too, I think earlier, just like so often we wait for love and we think it's outside of us when really it's something we just need to awaken within us, and it's always there. And so underneath the layers of many, many things, and I really feel that there's no love like your own. And so remembering that and knowing that you know exactly how to love yourself and what you need to hear. That's something I often say in my lives is, what is something you need to hear in this moment? What is something that you've been waiting to hear in this moment? And often it's people do say, I love you, or I am so proud of you. I see you. I see how hard you're working, or yeah, just all like a ton of things will flood into our mind and into our hearts because it's right there, just waiting for the permission to sort of be released from our own hearts to our own hearts. So I think just remembering there's no love like your own. That was kind of more so with the other question. What was the one? I forget exactly what the last one. Oh, who do you love? Who was your great love? Yeah, it should be you. Like you better say yourself for sure. And I think, and was it also about the definition of love as well? Maybe. Okay. Yeah, I think, oh my gosh. I mean, love is just everything. I feel like it's light, it's warmth, it's the purpose, it's deep connection, it's truth, it's blah blah blah. Everything. You could just keep going on and on, right? So I want to respect our time. And I think Alejandro, you were the next one that had your hand up.
So to define love, you said it and it resonated, Eileen. Love is purpose. Love is this force that guides everything. It's what we're rooted in. It's what we're created from beginning of time. Love has always been. Love is and love will always be. And I wish I could say that my greatest love has been me. Today it is. Today I can say that today I love myself more than anyone can love me. But through my timeline in this 32 years of life, and get the tissues ready because it's gonna happen. My greatest love has been my mom. When I hated everything there was to love about me, when everything collapsed and I lost everything, mom was still there. And I know love because mom loved me from the beginning of time. When the doctors told her, hey, you have 2 cancerous tumors with the baby, it is better to just end the pregnancy now because the baby might not come, fully developed. Mom said, if anything happens, save the baby and forget about me. So I am able to know tangibly what love is because there has been a single mother in my life who embodied love. There's this song that says it says, when God made you my mother, he knew exactly what I needed. Um, when I didn't believe in myself, my mom still believed in me. And I am the man I am today. I am the Alejandro you all see today because mom said yes to love unconditionally. When she didn't understand, when she didn't have the answers as to why I was behaving or I was doing what I was doing, mom still loved me unconditionally. So my greatest love thus far has been my mom. And today I do love myself more than I've learned to love myself that way, but I've learned to love myself because love was modeled through years in my life. And love was embodied in a household, and loved literally walked in my household, which I know it's not the experience for everyone, and I know I am blessed to have that experience. Um, but yeah, and then my kitties, although I am their servant and they're my masters. But my kitties, especially Shadow, my oldest, she senses when things are off, and she's not the most emotional cat. I don't think any cat is, but she's not the most loving cat. But whenever I'm a little bit off, she'll come around and she sit on my lap and she'll start purring and she'll start doing her healer thing. So my mom, my cats, and of course myself. And love is everything that has been, that will be. Love just remains regardless.
Yeah,
Femke.
Yeah, so that's for me, the definition of love is we are love, I think. We just sometimes tend to forget that, and we have to reconnect to that love again. But yeah, that's, I think, this is everything there is. Yeah. And I think I was always pretty good at loving others and not loving myself so much. That really has been a process over the years growing. That's where my whole self-gentleness process came from, because I found gentleness easier than love. But that's a growing thing, and I think, yeah, I'm one of my greatest love. Although I also have to say that I have a partner that loves me so unconditionally, lets me be who I am, that together with him I also become more myself. So I also really, really, really love him so much. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that too. And my kids, yeah. And my animals. But yeah, actually I'm just love. I love everything.
Thank you. Myesha?
All right, my screen wanted to shut down right as I was getting ready to speak. First, I want to say Lava, the blues is definitely one of my loves. So thank you for mentioning that. And I wanted to read this because, yes, I've been reading Teachings on Love by Thich Nhat Hanh, and there's this line. It says, "To love is first of all to accept yourself as you actually are. Knowing thyself is the first practice of love." And so, yes, myself. And like Alejandro, I can say that today. I've not always been able to say that, that's for sure. And I'm really grateful to be able to say that today. And the other thing I want to just mention is that I feel like love is a journey, right? And I feel like the more that I try to define love, the more that love lets me know that it's indefinable with words. It's not to be defined or even understood necessarily with the mind. Love is an expression. Love for me is a state of being. And love is like, it's not a feeling, but it is a feeling tone, right? And so I can feel when I'm in a state of love by dropping into the body. I know when I'm in a state of love based on how light I feel or not. That's one of the indicators. And again, I've been practicing with the Brahma Viharas in Buddhism. It's the heart practices, and Vihara from Brahma Vihara means resting place. So I really like to feel into the energy of words and the way that they feel. And so, and Jill is in the chat today as well. Jill is a Yoga Nidra IT teacher and amazing, and she knows this. But to be in that resting place when my body feels deeply at rest, like every cell in my body is deeply at rest, that's when I feel like I'm most connected to the energy of love. And the other thing that I want to say is, yes, when Alejandro said love is the all for me. And so that's why I really have learned not to try to define it, but to just experience it and to keep letting it birth me anew. The more I continue to evolve, I just keep emerging right from the depths to the surface again, and I'm completely changed. Like things look different, not things fit different. Things that used to fit don't fit anymore. Even the words that I used to speak don't fit anymore. The words that I used to say to myself don't fit anymore, and so everything changes when you're in a constant flow of letting love be in you and birth you anew in every now moment. So love is.
I love that. I love everything that you said. And, I want to say that my greatest love has been me, but I still feel like it's my kids. I think that, I don't know, they teach you so much about yourself and unconditional love. And I think that will always be the first thing I think of, my greatest love will always be my children. As for my definition of love, I read something by Tara Brach a few years ago, and I don't remember what it was that she wrote in there that made such an impression on me, but I end my journaling every day ever since then, and it's been like 3 years of doing this, with love is who I am. And that is my definition of love. I just love that line. Thank you for that question, too. That was another great question.
Yes. Well, it's hard to believe it's 8:15. And I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been so beautiful. And Violet, for choosing this wonderful topic.
Yes,
That,
thank
that
you.
was for my healing, too, I always say that, everything we do here is for our own healing. People say, oh, this is so healing for me. It's healing for us. And that was for my own healing. Because as I said when we started, I wanted to remember why I started doing these, because I love them. I love this space. I love sharing this time with all of you. And I was feeling overwhelmed and frustrated. And I was like, wait, that's not what this is about for me. And I need to remember that. And ease up a little. And I did. And I appreciate all of you being here with us. And before we end, I would like everybody to share, like I mentioned, Myesha's track and all the other tools that we have here that we use. I was wondering if we could go around and you could tell us what's one of your favorites or one that you recommend. So I'm going to start. Myesha, I'm going to start with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So one of my favorite tracks of mine here on Insight Timer is From Surface to Soul, A Journey with Your Tender Part.
I'm going to check that one out. I love that name.
Yes, that one's definitely one of my favorite. Return to Love is high up there as well. Jack in the audience actually, after one of my sessions, he messaged me and he gave me this title, and the title was Heartist. So it's a combination of heart and artist, which I really love and which I have been sitting with in my journeys with my heart. And so I've really enjoyed just learning from everyone here with us today. You all are such beautiful beings. My God, my heart is just exploding all over the place and expanding beyond my wildest dreams, just being in the space with you. So thank you so much. And I have a live coming up actually on Monday. The topic is exploring the tapestry of our hearts. So everyone is welcome to come and be with me in the heart space on Monday. Thank you so much I wanted to mention one last thing. I mentioned it already. Never mind. Thank you.
I will definitely be there on Monday. Eileen, I'll move over to you.
What's the time of that, please?
Let me check. I'll check and I'll get back to you.
Amazing. Yeah, I would definitely love to be there as well. I have one of my new courses is called Return to Love, and mostly is about quieting the inner critic and reconnecting to your inner friend, which I said earlier. And it's more so just providing you with more practical guides and tools to embody the love and really wake up to your own love that's already there. And again, it's like stop the reaching outward and place your hand on your heart and realize it's right there for you. And there's an abundant source of love for you. And I also share there's a lesson that is on somatic experiencing and shaking the body, which is such a great nervous system regulating tool and to just get into your body, out of your overthinking, judgmental mind and into your heart. So that course is there for you. And I also have a live on Monday. Normally I go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I'm going to visit family and friends and love on them and receive love. So Monday I'm leading a live inner child work. So that is going to be like a lot of love, right? And probably a lot of tears. And
Yeah.
so I'm asking people to bring a photo of the little version of themselves and just, I mean, because that's really it. When we're in that fierce space, it's like our inner child is like reaching up with their little hands and being like, pay attention to me, right? And I think that's what the meditation is going to be about on Monday. So, yeah.
Oh gosh, I will be there with my picture and my tears.
Yay. I can't wait. It's
Time.
going to be beautiful. Alejandro's already crying. Aw. It's,
I'm
What
gonna move.
time is that?
yeah. Oh, what time? So it is 11:30 Eastern time. So I'm in Alaska, so it's 7:30 a.m. my time, which is 6:30 or 8:30 a.m. Pacific, maybe. I don't know. There's so many different time zones. I recommend going to my profile, then seeing the event right there, and you'll be able, it'll what's the word? It'll make
It'll
it in your
convert the
time zone.
time. Yeah.
Convert. Thank you. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Femke, I'm gonna go to you so that Alejandro can get a hold of himself.
Yeah, so I have this course on Insight Timer. It's called Start Being Gentle Today, and I think it's a mini course. It's 4 days plus 3 tracks that are actually 3 daily practices of 3 minutes each, and I think it's a really great way to start becoming self-gentle. My lives, every second Friday of the month I go live on Insight Timer at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. So I was just live a few hours ago. But at the end of this month I decided to organize 3 special lives, easing the election season, where I speak about the work. What I also do in a course that I have on investments, my very first course on Insight Timer was how to deal with challenging behaviors and opinions, which helps people to cultivate political tolerance. And this is not about condoning or forgiving even people who are really, really different, or maybe even not so tolerant themselves, but it's really about the self-empowerment, actually just what we were speaking about the whole time. So I'm going to organize 3 lives on the 30th of October, 31st of October, and 1st of November. It will not be about politics, but it will about how you can ease your election anxiety, or whatever you want to call. And the time, yeah, it's for me, it's going to be 6 p.m., but I think this is 9 o'clock in the morning for Pacific, and then 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So, and also Melanie and Violet, thank you so much that, you're doing such tremendous work with every Ask Your Guides lives, and I really love to see you here. And I was there a few months ago and now again, and I see also how much more, you're into this. It's a beautiful formula. And thank you so much for asking me. I really enjoyed being here and connecting with, we all resonate so much. We speak about the same with our own voice, and I really loved hearing your perspectives and feeling how much I resonate. It just can conclude, yeah, we are all love. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful. And that's, this is my joy doing this. So I love hearing stuff like that. And this is why, like I said, when I got into that funk, I was like, get out of it, because this is my joy and I'm not giving it up. I don't care about OBS. Lava, I'm going to move over to you.
Okay, so now that I have a new computer, I don't have to worry about that. And I'm going to strengthen the Wi-Fi. And I've been working on a course for Insight Timer, really based on my Saturday decluttering group. And so I've learned so much. We've been doing this since 2020, the pandemic, how it's just affiliated with mind, body, soul, mind, body, spirit, how clutter, and how we get into these sentimental things. We were talking about love, how we can end up buying these things because it's temporary medicine to help us feel better about whatever, or we're holding on to sentimental things. It may be that the kids made or that grandma passed down, then all of a sudden it's just a weight on our spirit, and having to get rid of it can be very painful. So I'm going to be doing a course on that, breaking it into segments, and then I'm going to do a live after I speak to Violet and Melanie and Alejandro and Myesha and Eileen and Femke on what the world I'm supposed to be doing and what type of technocracy I need. So I'll do a live about the decluttering and offer some meditation, a meditation about decluttering as well.
I love that. I need that. I need all the help I can get with decluttering. And it's interesting that you said how we fill ourselves with all these things that we buy. I was doing that for a long time, and I felt like since I've been on Insight Timer, probably just the last year, when I became a teacher, I found other things that brought me joy, like this, and I realized I've not been shopping like I used to. So that is so true. I love that. Absolutely. Melanie, I'm going to let you. Oh, wait, no, Alejandro, and then Melanie. Alejandro, I wasn't forgetting you.
That's fine. That's fine. I was still crying here. So I have a live
And
image.
you can cry. I was just afraid you were going to make me cry.
I'm good. I'm not gonna talk about inner child healing. It was the picture that got me. It was the image of so I have a live on Saturday morning, 8:30 Mountain Time. And we'll be talking this Saturday, we'll be talking about all 5 languages, the overview of the 5 love languages. And then next week, every day from Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, I'll be live breaking down each love language, and not only as a talk, but also a meditation to allow ourselves to settle into each specific love language. Love languages are something that we can all learn how to speak. We might resonate with some more than others, but it is a language that we all can learn to speak. And it is something that in my life, as I spoke about earlier, has been a complete, like, it has completely changed my life and my relationship with self and with others. So yeah, that's what I have going on. Thank you for having me here. Being here with Eileen, who I follow in other platforms, with Femke, who I've listened to her tracks, Lava, Mama Lava, and Myesha. It's just I'm fanboying right now, and I thought I was not gonna cry, but I ended up crying almost 1.5 times. And Eileen, that's on you. The one time it's on you for the inner child healing thing. But thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for having me, and it's been awesome. It's been lovely. So thank you, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Melanie.
Well, I have tracks that are on healing for people who have chronic illness and cancer. And why I love those is because they're really about loving yourself. In a time where sometimes it's hard to love yourself when you're in pain and you're not feeling great, those affirmations are about loving you physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. So those are where I'm loving these days. And then I always have a live every Sunday. And this Sunday I canceled it, but I rebooked it because my best friend from high school is visiting. And I was like, I don't want to do that when she's here because I'm doing this live tonight. And then I said to her, my whole thing on Insight Timer is connecting through food. So why don't you hop on Insight Timer with me on Sunday and let's do what we love to do together, which is cook. So we're actually coming on 9:30 Eastern time this Sunday, and we're going to do everything vegan because she's vegan. So it's going to be so much fun and so beautiful because she's going to be with me.
Is that Allison in the chat? I just saw her.
Oh my goodness, it is. I didn't know she was here. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Very
Yes.
nice.
Because she's like, where the hell are you? We're supposed to be eating dinner.
Yeah, right. Oh, no.
And I'm just going to say, if you were my last live, I talked about banana peel bacon. We're making that.
Yum.
It's a great way to use up your banana peels if you're mindful about using all of your food.
And your live is at 9:30 Eastern time, which gives me an extra 30 minutes to sleep. All right, everybody. I guess we should let everybody go because Allison is waiting for her meal and I don't want to keep holding that up. Thank you, all you amazing teachers who came on here and did this. And, your tracks and everything that you contribute is so amazing. And all the teachers in the chat, too. There's a lot of teachers in the chat. If you want to follow the teachers who are here and you're having a hard time finding them, go to the link in my teacher's profile, and I will cut this out of the audio when I upload it. It's violet108.com. So it's easy to find, and you can follow all of them. And forgive me, Insight Timer, for mentioning my link, but you don't make it easy for us when we collaborate. So I said it. Love you. Thank you all for being here. And remember, love is who I am. I want everybody to say that because it's so
Love is
true.
who I am. Thank you, Violet. Thank you, Melanie. Awesome to see you
Thank you.
again. And Myesha and Eileen and Femke and Alejandro.
Aw, thank you so much, everyone. It was so sweet being here. This made my day.
Yes, me too. Me too.
Bye,
All
everybody.
right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.